Today was the first day that I smelled like the sun again. There's nothing better than smelling like the sun. They should make that into a perfume.
I'm a OG, one of the original. I'm a OG, one of the original.
Today I'm officially starting the new book. The other one is finished as far as I can control it. Now the rest is in the hands of printers and promoters and whatever. So my part is done. I just have to do PR once the time comes. So now I wanted to start a second book and I had some ideas in my head already. Today I'm just gonna write them down and puzzle with them. It will be about architecture, that much is for sure. I want to show my favorite buildings in the world, favorite cities in my style. But I just don't think that is enough, because I want to write the stories again. And I don't feel like writing stories where I say, oh, New York is so pretty and oh, such a nice building. Oh. I want to combine it. So now I'm playing with this idea where I combine my favorite architectural things in the world with my passions. So for instance, I combine New York with games. So you see the skyline of New York with Tetris inside. You see the Empire State Building with the Donkey Kong. That's the very simple, the gorilla climbing up. That's a very basic idea. That one is too simple, but you get the point. So now I'm gonna write down buildings in the world that I really like. Ten minutes into the brainstorm and I popped up this great idea where first I thought maybe New York is games, so everything in New York buildings has to do with games. And then I write about why New York is gamey to me. That is nice, but now I sort of got this idea that I like games, fashion, sport, food, TV, sneakers. Let me just write down fashion. So games, food, sport, TV, sneakers, fashion. I want to combine that with New York, Hong Kong, Tokyo, Paris, London, Berlin, Amsterdam. For now, that's a short list, long list, short list. And then in every city, I'm gonna do one painting with a game, one painting with food, one with sport, and in my piece that I'm gonna write, I'm gonna give my tips in those cities for games, food, sports, TV, sneakers, fashion. So you get this sort of travel guide based on paintings and my passions. I think that is an interesting. I need to work on it a bit better so that my pitch is a bit shorter than this long video, but we're getting there. Cool. My first book that I did about the Tour de France, 100 Tour de France, was an art book about sport, or a sport book about art. People didn't know, publishers didn't know, and I loved it. You could not put it in a box. It was not a sports book, it was not an art book. It was an art book with a sports theme, or a sports book with an art theme. I like that, so I want to keep that as a concept for all my books. So now I want people to be doubting if it's either a travel guide or a art book, or a art book inspired on a travel guide, or a travel guide inspired by an art book. Interesting fact, like that. Love brainstorming, love how it grows from nothing into at least in my head, some amazing cool thing. Art book inspired by a travel guide, or a travel guide inspired by an art book. Cool. Did you know that actually doing this vlog about this brainstorm and me talking to the camera actually makes me get better ideas, because I say things out loud that I normally would not think of. So that is interesting. This whole vlog is this brainstorm session, and because I vlog it, the brainstorm session is even better. And yeah, interesting. funny how that works. Then there's always that scary moment when you open your Evernote and you open a file called concept and you write in these tag words so you can find it later. In my case, it's book, passion, buildings, architecture, travel guide, a mix, not box, book, manager, Orlando. I write all these text down so I can find it, and then you see this white space, and then you have to try to put in sentences where before in your head it were just words, and you saw this movie playing and you wrote some stuff down and you don't know how to, you cannot read it anymore. So in your head it's always so much better than it once you start staring at this little box. And now in this box I have to write it down, and I have to think about people that will be reading this. Would they understand the way I put it? Because they are not in my head, they're not here in this session where I just walk up and down and things are getting bigger and I feel like the king of the world with this concept. But then writing it down in a white box is always difficult. Alright, here we go. The concept. There. So now, 3 hours later, started the brainstorm session. It's now 3 hours later. I'm not done yet, but it needs to rest. Like when you're cooking, your butts need to sink in. It needs to, cook a little bit. So I let it rest, and then tomorrow morning, I open it again. I check it, and if I still like it, and if it still feels like if it still makes me feel like dancing, that's what I wanted to say. If it still makes me feel like dancing, then I know I have the right concept. So I just wanted to take you along on this concept. For you it was about 7 minutes, for me it was 3 hours. But I hope you get a little glimpse inside my brain. I flocked my brain, maybe, I hope you guys see it that way. So tomorrow morning we know if we have a winner or if it goes back into the trash can. Delete. But for now, it rocks.